So we will start by some prayers, and we will discuss. It's impossible to discuss the whole Ramayana in a short span. Even a summary is kind of very, very difficult to discuss in a short span, but we will try our best to cover some of the pastimes and the associated lessons from it, right? So let's get started with our. I'm going to share my screen so that you all can see the screen as well. I think you can see now, right? Good. So Lord Ram's pastimes are so interesting and so unique. The whole Ramayana scripture is full of lessons, right? And especially on this day to talk about Lord Ram's pastimes is very, very special because today is his appearance day. The Lord does not, is born like us. We are born in the mother's womb and go through different karma, etc., action and reaction. But Lord descends, the Lord appears and disappears. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti suarjuna. That whoever talks about or understands the wonderful appearance in the pastimes of the Lord and his activities, that person will not take birth again in this repeated cycle of repeated birth and death. So Ramayana has so many lessons. Ramayana basically means to follow in the footsteps of Lord Ram. There are multiple meanings by multiple acharyas, but we will focus on this meaning today more because we are trying to not just understand the stories. A lot of people read here Ramayana, but very few of them try to really understand what we can learn and what we can apply from Ramayana. So it's a very behavioral scripture, Vyavhar Shastra. One of the great devotees says, Shri Krishna ki kathni or Shri Ram ki karni. That means we cannot imitate or blindly follow Krishna's activities, like getting married to 16,000 wives. Even if one wants, one cannot do it. Like dancing with gopis. We don't have to follow that. We have to relish those kathas. But Lord Ram, we can follow in the footsteps, getting married to one wife and such a great ideal brother, ideal son, ideal husband, ideal king. And then we also learn from others' examples, ideal daughter like Mata Sita, ideal wife, ideal king. Everyone, there are so many lessons in this whole Ramayana. So we will cover some of them. But before that, we'll glorify the hearing process and also chant the prayers. There's one beautiful verse which says, Nasti Ganga Samam Tirtham, Nasti Matra Samo Guruhu, Nasti Vishnu Samo Devo, Nasti Ramayanat Param. There is no better Tirth than Ganga. There is no better Guru than the mother, Matri. There is no better God than Lord Vishnu. And in the behavioral science, in the behavioral Shastra, there is Ramayana is the topmost. So all glories to Sri Ramayana. This is one verse from Sri Rama Raksha Stotra, which glorifies the hearing process. Bharjanam bhavabijanam arjanam sukha sampadam tarjanam yamadutanam rama rameti garjanam. Bharjanam bhavabijanam. Bhavam sagar. This world is called Bhavasagar. If one hears Rama Rameti Garjanam, roaring of the thunderous names of Sri Ram Bhagavan, then that person's, the seed, the bija of repeated birth and death will be destroyed. Right? That means that person will be free from the karmic cycle and will not have to take repeated birth and death. Tarjanam Yamadutanam. Yamadutas, the messengers of death, will not scare that person because that person is chanting the names of Lord Ram. And one may say, well, this is all after death. You're talking about live in present. Tell me something about present. So, in the present world also, that person will arjanam sukha sampadam, will get the wealth and happiness. And we know what is the real wealth. The real wealth is the wealth of bhakti or Krishna consciousness. So before we start the wonderful life lessons from Ramayana, we'll chant the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatharanam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Guruve Gaurachandraya सीताय तदालये रामाय रामभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. So before we begin, I want to seek blessings of all the assembled devotees who have done such nice, wonderful coloring work and who are all such wonderful devotees of Sri Rama. So please bless me and with your prayers and blessings so that for the next some time I can be empowered to share some life lessons from the wonderful Sri Ramayana and especially seeking blessings of His Grace Ramya Prabhu and Her Grace Ananta Mataji, who I believe are also present on the call, uh, the regional secretaries of the ISKCON of Tampa, and always guiding us, helping us, living a life of. I'm just talking about these principles, but they are living these principles not just for 1 or 2 years or months, but for over 50 years. They are Srila Prabhupada disciples living a life of the teachings from Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, etc. So we are so grateful and blessed to have them. Okay, so we'll get started by a wonderful prayer to Sri Ramachandra. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutri Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So the first lesson and the most important lesson, you know, in the English language, our learning starts with A, B, C, D. In Bhakti also, it starts with A, B, C, D. So the first lesson we will cover is A for association. The power of association. The power of association is such that it can transform the best to the worst and the worst to the best. And we'll discuss both the examples. Mata Kekai, we know that Dashrath Maharaj had three queens, Kaushalya, whose son was Sri Rama, Mata Sumitra, whose son was Lakshmana, and Shatrughna, and Kekai's son was Bharat. So Kekai had lots and lots of love towards Sri Ramchandra and Mata Sita. It is mentioned that when Mata Sita came after getting married to Sri Ramchandra, when the daughter-in-law comes, then the mother-in-law gives some gift to the newly married couple. So she was so happy to see her daughter-in-law, Mata Sita. Kekai was so happy that she gave the golden palace to Bhagwan Ram and Mata Sita as a token of gratitude, as a token of appreciation. And she loved Ram more than her very own son, Bharat. And when the the Dasi Manthara brought this news of that Lord Ram is going to be coronated as the king, Kekai was so happy, she took out a golden necklace, a diamond necklace, and gave to Manthara. That I'm so happy that you brought such a news which gave me so much joy. And then bang, Manthara banged that necklace because she had an evil plot. And she started to poison the mind. She started to affect by her evil association the mind of Kekai. And then Kekai's love towards Lord Ram turned into envy, turned into selfishness. And then she asked for the two boons from Maharaj Dashrath to send Lord Ram to forest and to coronate Bharat as the king. So we see a great transformation from the best of the intentions towards Lord Ram to the most evil intentions, very selfish intentions. And now we'll talk about one example from the worst to the best. The dacoit Ratnakar, who transformed into Valmiki Muni. The Valmiki Muni, the great author of Sri Ramayana, was a dacoit before, was a ruffian, killing others, looting others. And one day he said, I'll, loot Narad Muni also. Narad Muni has only one business to preach. And he travels like a transcendental spaceman, keeps traveling and keeps sharing the names of Sri Bhagwan Ram and Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The court said, Oh Narad Muni, I want your Veena. Narad Muni said, Well, do you know what you're doing? Do you know the outcome of this whole thing? And then he said, No, what outcome? This is my business. And then he said, Your family for whom you are doing, will they take the reactions of this? And he said, Well, I never wondered, but I can go and ask. So he tied Narad Muni to the bushes and to the tree and went to the family to check will they take the reactions. And the family said, Well, we won't take any reactions. It's your job to give us bread. We won't take any reactions. We would just want the fruits. And then by the power of the saintly association of Narad Muni, the dacoit Valmiki, he couldn't even chant Ram. So he started to chant. Narad Muni told to chant Mara, Mara, Mara. Mara means to kill or death. Mara, 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 Mara. That's the power of association. Sadhu Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koe, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoy Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Prema Tino Puna Mukhya Anga. The root cause of to develop Krishna Prem is Sadhu Sangha. Association is very, very powerful. So, friends, we learn here that it can bring the best out of us if we have good association, but it can also bring out the worst out of us. So, very, very practical lesson which we all can apply in our lives as well. The kind of association we keep, it will determine our qualities and behavior. The next lesson I want to talk about, there are so many lessons, I'm not sure we'll be able to cover all. There are unlimited lessons actually. But for what I have prepared, I'm not sure if we'll cover all, but we'll try our best. The power of counsel. Dashrath Maharaj had a very good council of ministers. Lord Ram also always consulted his monkey army. Jamban was the one who reminded who reminded Maharaj, the Hanuman, of his powers. So if we have to grow in life, if we have to make good decisions, we need to take good advice or good counsel. Those who don't take good counsel, they lead to destruction. Even Ravana sometimes used to take good counsel. It is said there are three kinds of people. The topmost are the one who take good counsel of others, not others like mantra. If we take counsel of people like mantra, then it will pollute our mind and consciousness. But if we take good counsel of learned devotees, mature devotees of Lord, they will help us to improve in our life. So Dashrath Maharaj is a good counsel of ministers like Sumantra, etc. And yeah, three kinds of people. One who take good counsel, who discuss the matter with everyone and carefully introspect and then make a good decision. Number two, they just think a little bit and just by their own self and just do it. Do what I think is best. Number three is even worst. They don't even give a thought, they just act whimsically. And Bhagavad Gita says, Yah Shastra Vidhim Utsrajya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Nasukham Na Param Gatihi. Those who give up the Shastras, those who give up the devotee association and just act whimsically, there they will always lead to destruction. They will not achieve happiness, they will not achieve any good qualities, they will not get any gati. Their gati will be destruction. Like Ravana. Ravana was so blind to his own, pride that I am a great learned Pandit. I know everything. He ignored the good counsel of Vibhishana. Other ministers were just flattering him. Vibhishana gave him good counsel multiple times. His own wife, Mandodari, gave good counsel to Ravana. But Ravana could not take the good counsel because he was blinded by his own pride. He was blinded by, oh, I know better. I know more. I know what is right. So Ravana could not take good counsel, and we know it led to his destruction. So if we take good counsel, we have the mentor system, the counselor system. We must take advantage of those. We must have a teacher. We must have a guru who can help us take good decisions in life. Otherwise, we will be misled like Ravana. And we should be humble, not like Ravana. Even Bali, at point, Tara, his wife, told Bali, don't go out. When Sugriva challenged Bali, when he had the support of Lord Ram, Bali also ignored the wife or ignored the counsel of his good wife Tara and led to his destruction. So we see this, the good side and the bad side also. Those who ignored, they led to destruction. Lesson number 3, don't be attached to position. We should be attached to seva. Maharaj Bharat, the younger brother of Lord Ram, when he came back from his uncle's home, the, the kingdom was clear practically for him, but he went to Lord Ram and wanted him to come back. And Lord Ram, said, because I have to follow the words of the father. So Bharat ruled on behalf of the Sri Ram. He never accepted the position of Lord Ram. He never sat on the throne of Lord Ram. Do you know where he was living? He was living in a hermitage, in a small hermitage in Nandigram. When Lord Ram used to sleep on the bed, Bharat would sleep on the ground. And now Bharat knew that Lord Ram must be sleeping on the floor. So Bharat kind of dug the ground and he was resting there. An epitome of sacrifice, an epitome of service. He put the sandals, the charan padukas of Lord Ram on the throne. He did the service. He didn't say, I don't want to do this service. Why should I do? And that's a very important lesson. And that's actually the next lesson. Yeah, we'll come to 4 later. But since we're talking about this episode, Bharat didn't want to rule, but still did that service for the pleasure of Lord Ram. So a disciple may not want to do something, but still he will do if the Guru wants him to do, if Krishna wants him to do. And with that comes the empowerment also. I kind of say many times to my mentor and my well-wisher Ramya Prabhu that Prabhuji, I can't do this. I can't really do this. I'm not qualified to do this. I am not mature enough to do this. But he will encourage, no, you please do this. You please do this. And he guides and encourages. And I just feel that whatever insignificant things we're able to do is only by the blessings and the power of the seniors. So if we keep the desire of the Lord, the desire of the senior devotees, the desire of Guru as foremost, much greater, much greater than our own desire, then the empowerment will also come. Bharat didn't want to go back. Bharat wanted to stay with Lord Ram because he said, without you, Ayodhya is like forest, and with you, forest is like Ayodhya. It was very, very painful for Bharat to go back and rule the kingdom or to do the service of ruling the kingdom. People would say, oh, Bharat, it is you. Because of you, Lord Ram is not with us. But he would take all the pain, but still do welfare for those people. That is the Mahabhagavad Bharat. It's very difficult if someone kind of says wrong to us and still doing service for them. That's Bharat, keeping the desire of the Lord as foremost. Coming back to lesson number 4, there are so many challenges in everyone's life: health crisis, financial crisis, emotional crisis, relationship crisis. It wasn't a crisis in the life of Lord Ram. At one point he was about to be coronated as the king, and at the very next moment he was told, go to forest. An ordinary person would go in depression. Would Some people commit suicide, some people blame others. Oh, it's because of mantra, it's because of Kekai. But Lord Ram took it in a very, very optimistic way. He didn't blame anyone. He said, oh, wow, such a wonderful opportunity to go and take association of the sadhus and go to the forest. Well, Mata Sita has always been asking, we want to go for a vacation. Ruling the kingdom means a lot of, challenges, services. It's not easy to accept the role. So Lord Ram was very, very happy. Was Mata Sita disturbed by the news that, oh, I will have to go? Mata Sita was also equally happy. She was not given she was not told to go to the forest, but she chose out of showing the qualities of an ideal wife. That, Lord Ram, wherever you are, that is Ayodhya for me. Whether you are in all the ups and downs, I will be besides you like your shadow, like Ardhangini. Ardhangini means half body. Wife is like the half body of the husband. So it's the dharma of the wife to support the husband in all ups and downs. These days we see a lot of divorces happen. Why? Because when the money is there, then the spouses support each other. But when either they lose their beauty, either they lose their money or job, or something happens, some challenging situation comes, then the spouses don't support each other. So whether it's the husband for the wife and the wife for the husband, we should see from the great couple example of Lord Ram. Mata Sita was willing to do anything for Lord Ram, and Lord Ram crossed all the oceans to protect Mata Sita and bring back Mata Sita from the evil Ravana. Jatayu, on the path of bhakti, there is only one thing: success and success. There is no failure on the path of bhakti. Most of you, some of the kids drew this wonderful painting. It was really amazing. So Jatayu was 60,000 years old. And Ravana was very, very powerful. Jatayu, when Ravana was going in his Pushpak Viman, kidnapping Mother Sita, Jatayu knew that his strength is not compared, equivalent to Ravana's strength. He knew that he may not be able to protect Mata Sita from the evil influence or the grip of Ravana. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us in chapter 2, even Mata Sita told Jatayu, Jatayu, please don't risk your life. You just tell about the whereabouts of me as Ravana is taking. You just watch and just tell about when Ram will come searching for me. You just tell that. But he could have done that. He could have been, oh, just I'm old. I can't do much. But he did his very best. In the path of bhakti, the effort matters, not the result. नेहा विक्रमनाशस्ते प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमपि यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. Even little progress on this path can save one from greatest of the dangers. So what happened to Jatayu later? When Lord Ram came, Jatayu tried to, save Mata Sita. Ravana was stronger. He did a lot of damage to Ravana and his Pushpak Viman, but ultimately he lost his wings and was completely in a pool of blood, just counting his final breaths. And then there comes Lord Ram and Lakshmana searching for Mata Sita. Jatayu was so fortunate that he gave up his life in the lap of Lord Ram. What is the goal of life? Antakale च मामेव स्मरन् मुक्त्वा कलेवरं यः प्रयाति समद्भावनाति अत्र संशय. यम यम भापि स्मरण भावम त्यजन्ति अंतकलेवरम तम तमेव इति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भाव भावितः. Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, 8.5 and 6. Whatever state we remember at the time of death, we'll get that. If we remember Krishna, if we remember Lord Ram, we'll get that. What could be a bigger benediction in life than to give up life, chanting Lord Ram's name in the lap of the Supreme Lord? And what did Lord Ram tell him? Lord Ram told Jatayu, Jatayu, you are like my father. The death of the exile, the 14 years of exile was not painful to me. The death of my father was painful, but not as painful. The kidnapping of Mother Sita is also not as painful than you sacrificing your life for my service. I can never repay the debt, Jatayu. In that very moment, Jatayu got his spiritual form and Lord Ram did the final rites of Jatayu. So friends, this is Ramayana. This is an epitome of surrender, epitome of devotion, epitome of sincerity, epitome of selflessness, epitome of eagerness to serve. Moving on to lesson number 7. Lust and greed are never satiated. Bhagavad Gita 16.21 says, त्रिविधं नरकस्येद्वं द्वारं नाशनम् आत्मनः कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्मादेतं त्रयं त्यजेत्. There are 3 doors to hell: lust, anger, and greed. They are never satiated. Satiation means satisfaction. Ravana, didn't he have wonderful queens like Mandodari, etc.? He had a lot of wonderful, beautiful queens, but never satisfied with what one has. We are reading the story of Sri Vamandev. Vamandev says if one is not satisfied with what one has, then one will not be satisfied, even one may get the wealth or the opulence of the 3 worlds put together. And that's what Ravana exemplified. So, greed and lust will just drag us to hell. What will uplift us? Satisfaction. Satisfaction will increase our spiritual strength. Dissatisfaction, greed will reduce all our strength. This is also from the Bhagavatam. Lesson number 8. Eagerness to serve tirelessly. When Hanuman was crossing the ocean, the first obstacle came in his journey. It was not really an obstacle, it was a mountain named Menak. Earlier mountains had wings. Interesting, right? They could fly. So Menak also had wings, and Indra this thunderbolt was chopping off the wings. But somehow Varundev or Vayudev helped Menak and put him in the ocean so the Indra could not harm. And as a result, Menak wanted to offer some gratitude, some service to Vayu's putra named Menak. Hanuman was as he was crossing. So Menak said, "Why don't you take some rest? Why don't you have a mission, you have a long journey to go, take some rest, take it easy." Hanuman says, "No, I am on a mission. A sadhaka is on a mission. There will be a lot of allurements come in our life, a lot of distractions will come. Take it easy. Why do you start so early? You're just 7 years old. Or maybe if you have to do, just do for 10 minutes in the morning. Why don't take it so seriously? A lot of people will say like that. Bhakti is just meant to just put some agarbatti around. That's it. A lot of people will say. A lot of people will say, well, you have 50 years more. Why don't you start at the age of 70 years or 80 years or after 100 years or maybe in your grave in deathbed? Just kidding. So a lot of people will say, but we have to be enthusiastic, tireless enthusiasm like Hanuman. Right? A lot of people will say different things, but we have to follow the words of the spiritual master, the words of the Shastra. Even Lakshmana did not sleep for 14 years, an epitome of service. 14 years, he didn't sleep, didn't eat, just busy serving continuously. This is another beautiful pastime and a wonderful lesson. When Lord Ram was told to go to the forest, all the citizens of Ayodhya said, well, we will go with you. We can't live here. Without you, Ayodhya is forest. It's like a body without a pran, without the life. It's dead. You are our pran. You are our pran nath. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam says, Sadhavo hridayam mayyam sadhunam hridayam tavaham mat anyatte na jananti naham tebhyo managapi. The devotee in his heart lives Krishna. Tomara hriday Govinda Vishram. Sarvasya chaham hriday sannivishto. Sadhu nam hridayam tabaham. Krishna lives in the heart of his devotees. A devotee lives in the heart of the Supreme Lord. That is their reciprocal relationship. Lord Ram didn't tell them, you also accompany me. A great leader does not demand respect. This is true servant leader. They command respect. It was not that Lord Ram, fought for elections. Oh, you all vote for me because I am a good king. They all loved Lord Ram more than their own life. They were ready to give up their homes, families, everything and go. And they did go. And at one point, Lord Ram was seeing elderly Brahmanas, elderly people, they're walking and the dust of the chariot is coming. And then Lord Ram said, I can't, do like this. Lord Ram's heart was paining to see the love of his, devotees. He then, started to walk. And then they reached the banks of Ganga. And then comes the next lesson that Ram or Aram, the test of a seeker. Don't miss the chance to see Lord Ram. If we are sleeping, jo jagat hai so pavat hai, jo sovat hai so khovat hai. So therefore, all the citizens were made asleep by the Yogamaya potency of Lord Ram, by the Leela Shakti of Lord Ram. And Lord Ram woke up Lakshmana, Sita Mata, and Sumantra in the middle of the night and said, we have to go. If these people get up, they will follow us again. We have to start right now. And then they moved the chariot in zigzag portions here and there, so they could not even trace where the chariot went from the water, not taking the usual path and taking other paths, so they couldn't even trace. And then next day morning they woke up, oh Krishna, we were just busy sleeping, we lost Lord Ram. What is the use of our life? Don't miss the chance. Every day is an opportunity to get closer to Krishna. Jeev jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Kota nidra yao maya pishachira ko le. Wake up, sleeping soul, wake up. We have been sleeping in the lap of which called Maya for many, many lifetimes and many, many decades. Now, Lord Gauranga has come. Lord Gauranga has given us this holy name. Take to the holy names, chant the holy names. Serve me. Bhajo Krishna, Bolo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. Lord Gauranga has specially come giving that message. So we should not spend this life sleeping in illusion. Sleeping doesn't mean physical sleep. One could sleep for 6 hours, but still be in sleep. Sleeping means sleeping from Krishna conscious perspective. Not taking to bhakti is sleeping. Next lesson. So we should not miss the chance. This life is very, very precious. This human life is very, very precious. Number 11, the love of the brothers. Now, Bharat, when he came back, he didn't, no one told him to go and try to get Lord Ram back. His love was so much for Lord Ram. He went. He could not tolerate. How could you send my brother? He's my life and soul. He's my everything. I love him more than my own self. In this place where Chitrakoot, where Bharat came back to call Lord Ram back, it is mentioned, and even till date, we can see the stones. The stones melted to see the loving exchange of the brothers. This is Lord Sri Ram. This is Bharat. This is the relationship. Nowadays, what's happening? Brothers are fighting in the courts. I want more property. I want more land. How can you get my property? How can you to do this? How can you do that? They're killing each other, right? They just want to prove that I am better. So the point is, whenever the brothers would fight in the earlier days, people will say, look at Bharat, look at Lord Ram. Are you just fighting over small, tiny things? Look at their love, look at their sacrifice. So that was the love. Even the stones melted. Number 12, Mata Sita had a very tough time in the Ashoka Vatika. The Rakshasis would trouble her, torment her. Ravana would come again and again and say, I would kill you, I'll slice your body. She was in a very miserable state, of course, she's the internal energy of the Lord, she's Supreme Bhagavan. But as a jiva, as a playing the role of a human being, you have to understand she was in a very difficult time. At times, she would also say, I should just give up my life. What's the use of me living in this situation away from Lord Ram? And then Lord sent his messenger, the spiritual master. So Hanuman is compared to spiritual master with the ring of holy name. And when Hanuman chanted the holy names of Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Shri Ram. That gave her hope. The chanting of the holy name will drive away all the hopelessness, will drive away all the fear, anxiety, misery, distress. Nowadays, the world is going through a very tough time. Death, mass shootings, corona, so many problems, so many difficulties. There's only one hope. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam. So the spiritual master, the ring is compared to like the holy name, which can drive away the distress of the jiva. We must take the chanting every day very sincerely. And even some of the kids draw this pastime. Even the stones would float, which had the name of Lord Ram. It's a great lesson. So even the stone-like heart will float away in this cycle of birth and death if we write on our heart the names of Lord Ram. And how will we write? By sincerely chanting. First we chant from the mouth, and then by the conditioning, by the power of repeated chanting, it will engrave in our heart, right? And then we'll chant loudly and clearly from the heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The stone and like heart will also overcome. The next lesson, number 13, assumptions, lack of proper communication, and immature judgments will destroy the relationships. You know this pastime, that how the Sugriva and Bali on the right side, Sugriva on the left, they were brothers. They had, good relationships. But one time, the demon attacked, Maya Danav attacked, and Sugriva had to go the Bali had to go in the cave. And Sugriva tried to call out, Vali, are you there? Vali, are you okay? A lot of time passed, and Sugriva was genuinely concerned. But Vali was inside and couldn't even speak, because if he would have spoken something, then the Mayadana would have got his location. So as he voluntarily didn't speak, and then Sugriva, out of concern for the brother and out of concern for the rest of the kingdom, he closed that hole of the cave with a big stone. It was not with any selfish agendas. He didn't want, he loved his elder brother really very much. But to protect the kingdom, he closed the hole with a big stone. And then Bali inside was still alive. He was fighting with Mayadanav. He killed Mayadanav. And then he couldn't even see the way, because the only way you can see the light is by the hole. When the hole is blocked, he couldn't even see where to go out. So it took significant time for him to get out. Somehow he found the way, came out, and then in the mind he was thinking, well, who else must be? Assumptions. Oh, it must be Sugriva. Oh, he has evil agendas. Oh, he wants to capture my kingdom. Oh, he wants to take my wealth and property and everything and just be the king. Assumptions, jumping to conclusions, jumping to immature judgments without even trying to understand, without even asking Sugriva. And then he finally said, if Sugriva has put this stone, nothing doing, I'll kick him out. And Sugriva had done it, but he didn't try to understand why he had done it. Assumptions, premature judgments, and it destroyed the relationship between the brothers. Very, very important, very, very practical. In every relationship, mother, father, husband, wife, son, daughter, grandfather, every relationship, assumptions, lack of proper communication, preconceived notions destroys relationships. Even Kekai thought, oh, I'm doing great for my son, Bharat, right? By kicking out Rama. She also assumed, oh, Bharat, I have taken out all the thorns from your path. Now you must be very happy. She thought that she will be able to make Bharat happy by sending Ram. But there was nothing, you know, there was nothing more painful to get to know that Lord Ram was sent to forest. So assumptions, lack of proper communication, very, very important lesson, leads to destruction of relationships. Number 14, let's see. Kadamba. Kadamba, interesting personality. Raise your hand if you have heard this story in Kadamba. Some of you have heard it. Very nice. This is a less known story, but it is in the Ramayana. So when Lord Ram and Lord Ram and Lakshman were searching, they came across this demon who had an interesting, body. His body was like a mountain, very big. His hands were 8 miles long, 15 kilometers. Just think about. His eye was in the middle of his chest, one eye. And his big mouth was kind of near his belly. Very ugly, right? Does it look beautiful? No, right? Very ugly. Why? Because earlier he was a celestial personality who had a lot of beauty, who had a lot of wealth, lot of prestige, and he had lots of beauty, wealth, prestige, but then he insulted a great sage who didn't look so beautiful, whose body was, bent or crooked. He thought, oh, I am better. Oh, look at, I'm so beautiful. Oh, I have so much wealth. Look at this ugly sage, good for nothing. So he insulted the great sage. And then sage said, well, you're very proud of your body. You get this ugly body. But we have discussed the curse of a sage is often a blessing. And then what could be a blessing than to be delivered by Lord Ram and Lakshmana? So we should never think we are better than anyone. We may be even doing spiritual activities, services, chanting, reading, hearing. Others may not be doing all this. Still, we should never think, oh, I am better. Because whatever we are is a blessing of others, blessing of our teachers. Shabari, the epitome of unalloyed devotion. She was born in a very low-class family, but she took shelter of great-souled Matanga Rishi. People would And Matanga Rishi had told that Lord Ram would come one day. You keep chanting. She would constantly chant 24/7 Lord Ram. By the blessings of the Guru, she was told that your berries would never turn, pale. They will never go bad. The flowers you pick for Lord Ram will never go bad. And Lord Ram will personally come. But she was not from a very uh, highly Brahminical background. She was from a low background, not very sophisticated, not very learned, poor old woman. People would make fun of her. Hey, 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 look at Shabri. Oh, you think Lord Ram will come and see you? We are so learned. The other sages would. Lord Ram, even if he comes, first of all, he'll not come. Your guru may just have told to pacify you, to keep you kind of happy, right? But she had firm faith. My guru has told. Guru does not lie. Guru is free from the four defects. So certainly Lord Ram will come. She had firm faith, firm enthusiasm, devotion, exemplary qualities. And Lord Ram did come. There's a one more detailed story. If time permits, later I'll tell about Shabari. So we should also keep pursuing the instructions, the words of the spiritual master with enthusiasm. People will say something, we should not take it so seriously. She didn't get offended by the words of other rishis. She said, uh, I'll do my best. Epitome of devotion. In spite of all challenges, all the odds, Lord Ram did come and personally tasted the berries of Shabari and said, I have never tasted so sweet berries in my entire life. That is Shabari's devotion. Service to Guru gives unlimited blessings. Lord Ram and Lakshmana used to serve their Guru Vishwamitra Muni, Vashishta Muni, and it is by their blessings only Vishwamitra Muni gave him unlimited, powers, arrows, mantras, taught so many things. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya ubdekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. One should approach a spiritual master and offer submissive, humble service and inquire submissively. So, service, inquiry, or reading of scripture should always be coupled with genuine, selfless, humble service. Just reading scriptures without service will not give anything. It may give some skill, but not character. Character will come from humble service. When the Guru is pleased, naturally the blessings will outpour. And it is those blessings which will help us in the greatest hour of need. When Lord Ram was face to face with Ravana, it was the blessings of Agastya Muni. He chanted that Ananta Hriday, or the the prayers which Agastya Muni had told, and different Atri Muni, Vishwamitra Muni, all these powers were given, and those were the strengths of Lord Ram. Of course, he's the Supreme Lord, we know that, but he's playing the role of a human. He's teaching us how to develop those extraordinary qualities, how to serve the spiritual master. Aditya Hridayam. Yes, thank you. He chanted the Aditya Hridayam prayers, which were told by his gurus. So when we are at the time of danger, the mercy of the Guru, the blessings of the Guru is what will help us to overcome all the dangers in the material world. Number 17, no one is disqualified from the service of Lord Ram. Young or old, big or small. The example of squirrel and the Hanuman. Squirrel was very tiny in front of Hanuman, but she could also take part in the service of Lord Ram. Shabari was a woman, an outcast, right? She could also serve. Even Nishadraj, Guha, he was also an outcast, not a very highly qualified person. Even the animals, we know Lord Ram's, monkey army, high caste or lower caste, even demoniac Kula person like Vibhishana became the greatest devotee. So the point is, no one is disqualified. And Prabhupada showed this when he came to United States. His audience were not very sophisticated, cultured Brahmanas. They were from different backgrounds, different colors, different age groups, different colors of the skin. Some had, serious wrong habits. But by the association of Srila Prabhupada, by sincere service to Srila Prabhupada and following his instructions, no one is disqualified in this age, because this age, we all have disqualifications. If we talk about qualification, then no one will have. Patra apatra nah dekhi stan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not see who is qualified, who is unqualified, what is the right place, what is not the right place. In a city like Bowery in New York is not the right place in terms of external, parameters to talk about Krishna. Everyone was, talking about LSD, drugs. But Prabhupada did not consider that. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. This is the Yuga Dharma by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. No matter what our background, no matter what our income is, what our relationship status is, whatever man or woman, dog or human, high caste or low caste, divine or demoniac, anyone and everyone can chant. And the last, and we'll see the story of Shabri if time permits. Vibhishana. Vibhishana gave good counsel to Ravana, but Ravana did not hear his advice. Ravana was too puffed up with his own self, with his own pride, blinded by his own ego, blinded by his wealth, blinded by his opulence. Nevam pashyati janmandha kamandha eva na pashyati arthidosham na pashyati madonmatta na pashyati. Four kinds of blind people, Niti Shastra explained. Blind by birth, like Dhritarashtra. It could be because of karma. But more serious is spiritual blindness. Blinded by wealth, blinded by one's ego, I am great, there is no one better than me. That was Ravana. So Vibhishana came to take shelter of Lord Ram. So he was, flying, came with four ministers. And these four ministers represent these four qualities of surrender. Very, very beautiful point here. Akinchanatvam. I do not have anything, my Lord. Dwam akinchana gocharam. One who thinks, Lord, I don't have anything. I don't have any qualification. Ananya gatitvam. Where else will I go? Lord, you are my everything. I can't go to anywhere else. This is a real surrender. If one thinks, no, my bank balance will save me, my wife will save me, my health or my insurance will save me, my car will save me, then one is not ananyagatitva. Gajendra also initially thought my family will save. Draupadi Mata also initially thought my husbands will save, my grandfather will save, but no one could give real rescue except for Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan. Saralta, simplicity, another quality of surrender. Saralta hi Vaishnavta, Vaishnavta means Saralta. Lord Ram does not do a background check. If one is simple, genuinely says, Lord Ram, I am yours, Lord Ram will accept. Even he said, what to speak of Vibhishana? I'll accept even Ravana if he comes. And Lord Ram is the supreme powerful. No one can harm him. So when Vibhishana came, there was a discussion going on. Should we, bind him because he's from the opposite side? Should we kill him? Should we just kick him out? What should we do? So different people, different ministers, Sugriva, Jambavan, Angada, Hanuman were having a round table conference. So someone said, this is from the opposite army. Kill him. Someone said, well, but let's first talk, right? We just talk about, don't jump to conclusions. But, well, he may have weapons, he may have he may be a spy or whatnot. Hanuman said, no, he was the one who helped me when they were trying to bind me, they were trying to burn me or kill me. And he was the one who actually told me about the whereabouts of Mata Sita as well. So we should give shelter. And then finally, Lord Ram said a wonderful verse, which is the last part. Sakrit eva prapannaya tavasmiti yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadami etadvratam mama. Now can loudly chant in your own place with your mute mode. O Lord Ram, I am yours. O Lord Ram, I am yours. If one genuinely chants this, Lord Ram says, I don't need anything else. I don't need any qualification. I don't need any background check, whether demon or divine, past or present. They may be the worst of the sinful people in the past. If one chants and comes to my lotus feet, I will give him full shelter. This is my solemn vow. This is my pledge. O Arjuna, declare it boldly. Name bhakta pranashati. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vajam tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami mashucha. Pretty much same here. Not only he gave shelter to Vibhishana, he did Raj Tilak by saying Lankesh. Lanka Isha becomes Lankesh, the Lord of Lanka. And people were saying, well, Ravana is still present. It's not that he's dead. You have coronated him as Lankesh, as the king of Lanka. What will happen if Ravana comes and asks for your shelter? Right? Then you can't kill him. Right? He says, my dear Bharat is, is very dear to me. He will not object if I make Vibhishana the king of Ayodhya. If Ravana comes and takes my shelter, I will make Vibhishana the king of Ayodhya. He says, well, what about then Bharat? He says, the devotees like Bharat will rule the city of my heart. That is the devotion of Lord Ram. I keep them in my heart. I want to be conquered by my devotee. I let myself become a slave of my devotee. This is Lord Ram. This is the Ramayana. These are the sweet pastimes of Ramayana. Should I tell one story about Shabri before we end?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, we'll talk one story about Shabri, which I recently read. Very interesting. So, Shabri, we have already discussed that she was born from a very low family. It was a day of her marriage, and being born in a family where they don't have high culture, they were killing animals on the occasion of marriage to feed the reception of the guests. She said, I can't tolerate these goats will be killed for my marriage. I can't tolerate. She ran away. She ran away from before the marriage and then went to Matanga Rishi's ashram and became an exemplary devotee. Humility, tolerance, perseverance, patience, eagerness to serve, all divine qualities. Sarve gunai tatra samasati. Sura. Yasyasti bhakte rakinchana. Sarve gunai samasate sura. When who renders unalloyed devotion, all the divine qualities come. 24 hours chanting Lord Ram's name. People would tease her, people would ridicule her. She would titikshva. Tham titikshva subharata. Very, very tolerant. Equipoised. One day she was going to get some water from the lake, from the nearby water body. And the people would consider her outcast even in spite of her devotion. They would not even, see her shadow. So one sage, to get rid of Shabri or kind of shoo her away, threw a stone at Shabri. And that stone hurt Shabri in her leg. And a few drops of water touched the pond of water, and the whole pond turned into a blood or reddish because of Shabri's blood. Now the sages were confused. Our water source is gone. How will we do puja? How will we do worship? Because this Shabri's blood has contaminated everything. And then they got to know, well, Lord Ram is nearby. Why don't we call him? They hurried and went to Lord Ram. Lord Ram, please come, please help. And then Lord Ram came. I said, what's the matter? He said, look at this. This is all full of blood. And they were thinking, they had heard the story of Ahilya by the touch of Lord Ram's feet. Even a stone can be turned into a woman, a devotee like Ahilya. And then they asked Lord Ram, why don't you touch your lotus feet to this pond of water? It will turn back again to pure water. Lord Ram said, okay. He touched his feet. Guess what? Did the bloody water turn into normal pure water? Who will say yes? Who will say no? Thumbs down, thumbs up. Did it turn into pure water? The answer is no. It didn't turn down. Hmm. Now everyone was confused. The touch of the Lord could not, do this. They asked, why don't you take full bath? Maybe that will work. So Lord Ram took bath in that. Still nothing happened. And then Lord Ram inquired, how did this happen? Then they told the story that this happened because of Shabri's blood, the blood of a devotee. And then the news had reached Shabri also. So Shabri was hurrying. Oh, Lord Ram has come. Oh, my Prannath has come. She couldn't control herself. She was in ecstasy. She was running, and the dust of her lotus feet was also moving. And a few particles of dust of her lotus feet fell in that pond. At that very moment, the whole pond turned into pure water. Sri Ramchandra Bhagwan ki jai. This is the power of devotion. This is the power of devotee. Lord Ram is telling, my devotee is even better than me. See, I can't do what my devotee can do. This is Lord Ram. So I will pause here. I know, I hope you all like these wonderful stories and lessons we have discussed, and they're unlimited, but in the time we were allotted, we could, share some of those. So I'm so grateful to all of you for your wonderful presence and wonderful association, and to all the kids, their parents, and to all the congregation members for giving this chance on the special occasion of Sri Ram Navami to chant, to hear about Sri Ram, about his devotee, and not just hear, but to let's try to apply these lessons. That's Ramayana. That really means the purpose of, or will fulfill, that will fulfill the purpose of Ramayana, that will fulfill, please Lord Ram. Okay, so now I'll pass on back to Karthik Prabhu. Before that, everyone will loudly say, Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Sri Ram.
Everyone unmute and turn on
Jai
your
Shri
videos.
Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.